All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Semper Phallus. I believe this is our 9th episode.
Nueve.
And tonight we are going to talk about some interesting things that have happened. We've got I don't know if this person's a villain or the good guy in a story, but a certain person has been found with some dead fetuses, and there's a lot surrounding that story. We've got more information about food shortages, but before we get into any of that, we need to celebrate a very patriotic fox that made an impact recently in regards to our government. So before we go any further, let me go ahead and just pull up. Give me 1 second.
God bless us, brave American vixen.
All right, you guys ready? Bless his little heart. What's his name?
It's a she.
What's her name?
Valerie. Valerie the vixen.
She was a vixen.
A true American hero. Had the balls to do what we haven't done. Go after congressmen.
God. Yep.
Got past the gates and the wire fences.
Yep.
All the alphabet boy soups that are there, the Capitol Hill Police.
Yeah, that was
True initiative.
That was our little fox. I think we have a story pulled up. Do you have more information on the fox? All right. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the article. This is in Fox News, of all places.
I didn't even catch that before it.
Capitol Hill fox euthanized. They put this poor little fox
One
to
could
death.
say he got Ashley Babbitt'd.
Oh, God. That's rough.
Too soon.
Yeah, that's rough. But then again, the fox really wasn't that big of a threat either.
No.
So, and neither one of them had weapons. So, but a Capitol Hill fox euthanized, test positive for rabies. Which, maybe it did have rabies, but did that look like it had rabies to you?
No, it looked like it was just a fox in the city hanging out doing whatever it does.
If you happen to have seen the videos that were playing on Twitter or YouTube or wherever, comment, let us know if you thought that fox had rabies. I saw a video of it. It was just running around.
Being a fox.
It wasn't like the stereotypical version of what you think of when you hear that an animal has rabies. Like it wasn't foaming out of the mouth. It wasn't acting crazy. It wasn't even moving erratically when they had, it was just kind of wandering. But then again, I don't go up and mess with wild animals that are roaming around anyway.
Nah, I leave them alone.
But
Alex, are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, it just hasn't shown up in the Facebook feed, that's all.
Oh my God, hold on. Let's go back. Are
we about to go live again?
Yeah, we're going to go live again.
From the top.
Hey, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Semper Phallus. This is our 9th episode of the Full Phallus podcast.
Presse 92 for nueve.
This is our second attempt because we actually tried to go live and I didn't click the button. So my bad again. I am really, one of these days I'll get it.
We just keep them on track, folks.
Yeah. Well, somebody let me know that we weren't running live, so that's good. One thing fixed, right? But today we're going to talk about, this is a strange one. Dead fetuses were found with an individual that is a pro-lifer. But there's a lot more to the story. It's hard to tell who's the good guy or the bad guy here. We have an update on the food shortages and some more information about that. And then, most importantly, and we already did this once, but we're going to do it again just for you. We want to celebrate a very, very important and very patriotic fox. So give me just 1 second. I think I may have actually X'd out of that fox. I can't believe it.
God bless that fox.
Yeah, give me one.
Got past the high wire fences, the triple strand concertina wires, and the Capitol Hill Police to do what we have not been able to do. Nip a congressman right in the knee.
Oh, yeah. And
how did they treat that fox in the end?
just like they treat everyone who tries to stand for their rights.
Tries to get into the building, they shoot him. She can say that fox got Ashley Babbitt'd.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Here we go. But I need to pull up one more thing.
Such a sweet animal.
So
God bless that American fox. A true American hero. A patriot.
True American hero. All right, so here you go, guys. We're going to pull up this fox here.
Call attention to orders.
Attention to orders. You said her name was Valerie?
Valerie the Vixen? Because that's what a female fox is called. Keep your shit together, Marine.
Sorry.
It's not about you.
No, I know. Just look at her.
She did nothing wrong. She did what we have not been able to do.
I'd say she's justified in her actions.
In 13 months, she's the first one to get through to the Capitol.
Yep. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum,
no shit,
someone else was able to just walk up and shoot a senator while playing baseball. Whatever.
Come on.
God. Oh, no, we gotta... It's about Valerie.
It's about Valerie the Vixen.
All right, guys. Just a moment of silence. All right, that's enough.
All right, for everyone that's watching, please like, comment while we're doing this. We'd like to hear what you guys think and give us some little feedback while we're doing this.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I already said this before too, but if you happen to have seen the videos of the fox roaming around on Capitol Hill, let us know if you think that fox looked as if it was rabid. Because the videos I saw, I'm no expert, mind you, but the videos I saw, the fox was just casually strolling, didn't seem sick, didn't seem overly aggressive.
Just the fact that it lets you catch it.
That's true. So, that's one thing. So I'm gonna bring it up over here. We got an article about the fox on Fox. And yeah, we're not really laughing about it now because we already laughed about it once. And it's
a fake one now.
Sorry. It's very insincere. Capitol Hill fox euthanized, tests positive for rabies as DC health officials weigh Kit's fate. They named him Kit. Pff.
No, Kits are the babies.
Oh, they found Kits?
I guess so. That's news to me.
Oh, I want a baby fox, man.
Cool.
Do you remember the movie Fox and the Hound?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was before they were grooming. That was a great movie.
Remember like The Sword and the Stone? Masculinity, power.
Yep.
It's okay to be in charge.
Yeah, now when your kids are just watching videos on YouTube, if you haven't seen the recent post that we put on Facebook, but if your kid's just watching a video on YouTube and it's just a normal child video, your son or daughter will be inundated with ads on the side that say, "Am I gay?
Answer this quiz.
Take this quick quiz to find out if you're a homosexual.
If you like Puffin Peters."
Yeah, but seriously though, so if you're watching this on Facebook Live, after, or even if you want to break off for a second and check it out, we've got a post that we put up. It's a screenshot literally of my kid's tablet.
Yeah,
and it's just strange placement. I mean, the grooming that is going on right now is very odd.
I pointed it out to you when you look at the snap that you posted to the page. It shows that he just finished a video, and then it drops all the, hey, you might like these videos, and it was all like Teen Avengers and like comic book stuff and video game stuff, and in the top right corner it's like, are you gay?
No, it's in the corner it said, am I gay?
Oh, that's right. Answer these questions.
Yes, as if my 11-year-old son is having these philosophical internal debates about homosexuality when all he wants to do is play Red Dead Redemption and
rob trains
and like hogtie people.
I know.
Yeah, like literally him and his friends go on there and they literally, I don't even know how they're friends when you listen to them play. They hate each other. They just attack each other and stab each other and shoot. And they're like, don't stab me. I'm done. And then they keep doing it. But whatever, But meanwhile, YouTube's like, you should take this quiz to find out.
I think you might not know something about yourself?
You might be so gay right now.
So gay. So gay.
So you don't know it, but you might be so gay. So cute.
Oh, I want to share this too. If people are...
You're gay?
Yeah. Just coming out of the closet full bore.
Right here live. Live on Semper Phallus.
Just barreling out of the closet.
We named it that because of all the phallus.
So much phallus. Now you made me lose my train of thought, Alex.
I'm sorry. You said something about something, and then I interrupted.
Yeah, you sure did. Moving on.
I'm sorry. No, you said you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was now.
God, I derailed that train
Sure
of thought.
did.
I did. It'll
It'll be 10 minutes later, and I'll be like, oh, I got it.
Guess what, guys?
New topic.
let me go back to this about homosexuality. All right,
moving on.
All right, so we covered the fox. We covered our little Valerie the vixen, who ended up being the victim. And I wouldn't say that the senator was the victim because I think they're all garbage. So except for Thomas Massey, he's pretty cool.
Tom's doing a good job right now. I appreciate the fight he's putting up, but we'll see how long he can hold out for.
Yeah, I think we're gonna save the fetal debacle,
the weirdness of it,
the strange story about the fetuses to the end, because I'd really like for you to stick with us. So we're gonna give you the food shortage update. So let me find which one is this, the one you want to go over first?
Yeah, we can start there. It's a 2-year projection from the last 2 years. As everyone knows, we're as the president had said recently, we're expecting a pretty significant food shortages. There's nothing we can do about it. As he said, we're headed for it. It's going to happen. It's something that most of us have never dealt with in the United States because we're a pretty bountiful country. But if you see in the last 2 years, from 2017 till 2020, everything was pretty good. And over the last 2 years, we've shot up about 40% in the cost of food, and this isn't necessary.
In certain areas, there's a shortage.
Right.
Like in Sri Lanka, the civilization in Sri Lanka has just completely collapsed because they have no food.
Well, that's their civil war is 100% because of that.
And but right now, what you're seeing in the more developed countries is the food it's becoming a shortage, but the food that is there is so expensive that a lot of people can't afford to eat.
Well, it's going to get to the point where people have to make really significant choices, and when you have a family and you pick and choose what you want, can I get fresh fruit and vegetables, or do I have to go to canned vegetables? There's choices there, and then eventually, if the inflation and the increase continues over the next few years, canned food is going to be out of the question. And if you don't know how to grow vegetables and preserve them and save them for a course of time, it can get really ugly. And food shortages throughout history, way back to Roman Egyptian times, have always been the nuclear source of civil unrest to overthrow governments. I'm not saying that's something that should happen. It's not something that we should cheer about, but that's usually the antithesis of violent revolt. Because when you can't feed people will do what they have to do to feed their starving kids.
Yeah. And, look at the standard regular world when things are running appropriately. People that have grievances with their government, a lot of times they might not even have the time to go and air those grievances and do what they can to change things. But all that changes when you don't have enough money to feed your family. Your kids are starving, you're starving, your wife is starving. Suddenly your wife and family are going to care less about you going to work and more about you going and finding food, no matter what way you have to do it.
Correct.
So, and that's when things get real dicey for a poorly performing administration that's running a country. So,
well, it happened in Egypt with the Arab Spring. Hosni Mubarak, he was kicked out because the country was starving itself.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Hey, you got to go." And then they enacted this change and everything in the food. The crops came in, the international aid came in finally, and they kind of figured things out a little bit. But it's not a perfect system over there either.
Yeah. So for anyone who's just listening, because I know sometimes people will just have their phone down and just listening in. So back in approximately 2018, beginning of 2018, food prices under this measurement was under 100 units. I don't know what their unit of measure is. It was maybe 96 units. And now it has gone up dramatically, and it's over 140.7 units. I don't know if that's like a percentage increase. So I'm going to go ahead and read real quick because it's a short one. It says, after recovering from a coronavirus dip in early 2020, the global FAO food price index has risen quite steadily, reaching a new all-time high of 140.7 points in February of 22. Rising 8.5%, the vegetable oil sector was the priciest in the index. The prices for palm, soy, and sunflower oil surged due to falling production and export projections. Concerning sunflower oil, the Russian war in Ukraine already influenced prices in February, as both countries are major producers.
Yeah,
that's just one of many things.
What Ukraine does is produce a massive amount of sunflowers.
Yeah. It goes on to say the invasion also drove up the prices for cereal, especially anything involving wheat.
Yep.
But despite the new record, the consequences of the conflict are expected to only be fully visible in the wholesale food prices in March and in the following months. So they're saying that we're not even there yet.
No.
And unrelated to the situation in Ukraine, we have worldwide dairy prices increasing due to the demand from Asia and in the Middle East. Meat prices have only rose slightly, while sugar prices have declined.
I disagree with the meat prices. I believe the meat price this week in the United States was, on average for all beef, was $6.49 a pound. I know you're going to say, well, my hamburger meat wasn't that much a pound. It's overall, so the nicer cuts of steak and the ground beef all together, on average, we're up to like $6.49 a pound. Chicken's up.
Yeah,
it's up like almost $3 a pound. Eggs are
that's why you're going to eat bugs and you're going to like it.
Yeah, lentils for days.
Eat your lentils.
And you can just say, thanks, Uncle Klaus. I appreciate everything. Thanks, Dan Crenshaw.
I've got my lentils. I didn't buy lentils just because I refuse to eat those.
It's actually a good food preservation.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've got lots of beans and other storable foods and canned foods and stuff, but man, lentils just don't. I'm not a picky eater. Well, that's not true. I am picky, but I don't know I don't know how you prepare lentils and make them taste good.
Boil them. That's it.
I don't want to.
They're like a bean, a flat bean.
I don't want to live like I'm in some sort of. I don't want to eat like boiled cabbage.
Hey, relax. Bill and Melinda have talked about this. It's called synthetic meat. Charlton Heston did a movie called Soylent Green. It should explain everything.
Soylent Green is people. Yeah. It's people.
But that's what they want. They want to push us off the nice stuff so they can enjoy the high end. And it's not even high end. It's when they figure everything out, because they're in charge and we should thank them and we'll have nothing, that they'll have the good stuff. We'll eat the synthetic stuff and just shut up and be happy because we're being fed and it didn't cost us anything.
Well, that's the thing. They're going to make it so... I'm not saying 100% that they're going to make it this way, but at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, they're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have money that most people can't fathom. Like, most normal people can't look at that amount of zeros on a piece of paper and consider it realistic.
You can't spend that much money in life.
Literally. But so, like, they're not going to be affected. So, like, the normal person is going to be struggling so much when things get really bad that when they come out with these horrible synthetic meats, that the fact that they even call them a meat is asinine.
Yeah.
That's once again just redefining words so that they don't mean what they meant. Because if it's not, wow, that heater just kicked on loud.
Wow.
If it's not meat, how do you call it synthetic meat?
Yeah, where did it come from?
But anyway,
you just printed protein.
You're going to be so hungry and unable to afford real meat that you will be happy. You will literally be happy that you are eating this like plastic bug garbage
because you had nothing.
Because you had nothing else.
And you'll be happy.
So if you're not preparing, you should take it upon yourself to do so. Because when times get extra hard, money's getting more and more tight, you don't want to resort to eating this like plasticide,
and
bugs
and protein-based amylized.
Yeah.
So if we look over the course of the last 110 years, if we look even further back, the price of bread from the inception of our United States only came to about, I don't know, $5 cents a loaf. And then right about 1913, Alex, can you guess what happened right around then?
Was there a war?
No, we're not in a war yet, but there was a thing that we call the federal.
Oh my God,
the reserve.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah. They jumped in. We got the Federal Reserve Act. We got the Income Tax Act. And at that point, we started seeing the inflation really skyrocket in this country, and it led up to the Great Depression, the Black Friday rush, and
Black Swan events too.
Yeah, it's
lots of things. I mean, everything's kind of fallen off since the Fed has been. So the Fed Reserve. Are we starting to talk about the central bank and everything?
Well, yeah, the Federal Reserve, and when that happened, food costs started moving up exponentially, and here's a problem too, and we talked about this off. If we talk to orange farmers in Florida, they're subsidized. Most farmers are subsidized. So when they produce crop, their expected crop is supposed to yield XYZ, and that's going to go to market and produce a market value XYZ. However, if they have a great year and they produce 20%, 30% more, do you know what the farmers have to do?
They have to trash it.
Yeah, they have to pour kerosene all over it and burn it.
Mm-hmm. And they have to provide proof that they did that.
Yes, they can't.
That's even more crazy.
They can't give it to homeless people or shelters or sell it to the Southern Hemisphere, who's not in that growing season this year.
So when you hear people saying like, oh well, why do we give all this money to Ukraine, or why did we give all this money to Pakistan for their gender studies? I agree with you. That's a good question.
100%.
But at the same time, like things that aren't money but do have a value, like food, we are actively destroying in our country when the primary argument against sending money and other resources away is that we could be using it to help the homeless in the United States. Well, what about feeding the homeless? Why are we we're not even making money. We're just
not
destroying this product when it could be given away for free, as long as it was given away inside of a regimented program, which I'm not sure I would agree with it entirely.
I hear you.
But if it's in a regimented program where people aren't flooding the market with it, then it wouldn't offset the cost.
Right, because it's not hitting the market.
It wouldn't dilute the supply,
right, and the cost,
and hit the farmers in the bank account. It would just be a way for them to feed those in need while still making their normal profit, and they actually don't even have to do an extra step. They don't have to spend that time burning their fields and potentially causing other damage to where they're growing their crops. So
I don't know. Fuel's pretty expensive. Dump kerosene all over stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the last thing I want to talk about is the with the food shortages that I think kind of goes under the radar with a lot of people is fertilizer.
Oh yeah.
Fertilizer is quintessential to our production of crops, and most of our potash, our ammonium nitrates, Russia is the largest global producer of those fertilizers, and we're not on the best terms right now.
What are you talking about? We love Russia.
We're sanctioning the shit out of them right now.
You know what we're doing is we're empowering them. We influence them to create their own monetary system outside of SWIFT. Encourage them to start selling
with India.
Selling with India, China, all these different countries, using the ruble and getting rid of the petrodollar. And through all this, it encouraged them to. For anyone who doesn't want to do business with the ruble, then they have to open an account with Gazprom Bank. I think that's what it's called. And then in order to buy resources from Russia, they put the money in the account, and then it gets converted to ruble. So everything is empowering the ruble. If you look at the value of the ruble, it is almost where it was before the sanctions. That's after it tanked. It almost dropped 50% when they first did the sanctions, and now it's going up. It's almost.
They were saying today that General Milley.
Oh God!
He said
the white rage guy.
Yeah, he said that if this continues and the sanctions continue, and I think Biden said it too as well, that potentially 1 year of these sanctions could cripple the Russian economy back to when they had just dropped the Soviet Union. I don't know if I believe that at all.
No, there's no way that that's true, because it's done nothing but empower them so far.
Well, that's what we've seen on the back channels, is that they're creating their own market outside of us.
Yeah, so, I mean, just look at it logically. Like, don't just believe what the media tells you. Like, look at, as much as you might think that it's propaganda coming from Russia, and I'm sure a certain amount of it is.
Of course.
However, on the global markets, when they look and review these values, these are not coming from Russia. These are almost like speculatory. It's coming from the general overall market.
It's the futures.
Yeah, and they're assigning these values. So when they're assigning these values to Russia, it's not Russia assigning the value. So Russia is not being knocked back into the Stone Age. If anything, so they've been backing their rubles on gold, by the way.
Smart.
I believe at this point, the last article that I read, 1 ruble, or no, 5,000 rubles was 1 pound of gold. Don't get me, I might be wrong there, but it was like maybe it's 1 ounce of gold.
1 ounce is more like
yeah, 1 ounce. So they're at a point where they can.
You say 5,000?
Yeah, 5,000.
I think an ounce of gold is about $3,000 US.
Yes, but they have acquired enough gold. Yeah, they've acquired enough gold now to be able to back it at that ratio, which means they're, if nothing else, they're making themselves resistant to sanctions. They're turning themselves into a country that doesn't need to use the global marketplace to exist. Whereas right now the United States has become feeble and weak, and without the global marketplace we fall apart because they have done this. They've stripped us of our manufacturing.
Well, that's where we're headed.
They've stripped us of everything. I mean, they've stripped it.
The computer chips for trucks.
Yep, and after they've stripped us of all this stuff, now they're saying that we need to start it all back over again, but it's already too late. And on top of that, they're trying to steal hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of taxpayer dollars to do it when these things existed organically and had developed organically without stealing money from everyone. And who's going to run it? So they're going to steal all this money from taxpayers, right? They're going to steal this money from you, and then these companies are going to build up, and then you're not going to get like a discount on these chips. So these CEOs and these executives that run these companies that didn't have to use their own resources to develop this, it's just like the fucking vaccine. They're going to use taxpayer dollars to develop it. Then they get to sell it for profit. They're going to make fucking billions.
Well, yeah, and back to the food shortages issue, China owns like $2 billion worth of U.S. farmland. I don't know how that happens, but that's scary.
So are you telling me that the two of the primary controllers of our agriculture industry are China and Bill Gates?
Well, I believe they own 8.9% of agricultural land. And how is that not a strategic issue?
Yeah.
You know, like we were just talking about microchips, medicine. We'll send all that stuff over there so they can make it. Now, what happens when Russia, and these are U.S. food costs right now, fertilizer's going up almost 300% this year. Farmers are sweating their britches figuring out how we're going to do this. They're not going to pass the buck to themselves. It has to go somewhere else. And with inflation, it's the tax on everything else on top of everything.
And the worst thing about inflation is that for regular people, and it's really, inflation mostly impacts the middle income people, because people that are poor and have nothing, it doesn't change anything. For people that are wealthy and have their money tied into assets and debt-backed the resources, if anything, it makes them more wealthy because their debt stays the same, but inflation goes up, which means technically their debt went down. It's really messed up because the value of the dollar changes, but the debt didn't.
Correct.
So it actually... It's an increase of tax on the regular person, essentially a decrease of tax on the wealthiest person, and it really doesn't change anything, at least not right away. I'm sure eventually when things completely fall apart, the middle income earners and the low income earners are all going to suck it up and die the same way, but the wealthiest of people are going to do just fine, and then they'll probably steal your land when you die. So, and then just the cycle continues.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, I don't know what their end game is, but you look at the World Economic Forum and the World Government Summit that they had this week. That was that was pretty goddamn terrifying.
Well, they made so there's a new one too. There's
talking about the New World Order. Can we do it? Are we there?
There's a new, instead of the World Economic Forum, there is now another New World Government Summit that was held in the Middle East, I think, in Dubai.
Yep, you're correct. And, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, and they actually, Klaus Schwab. Hold on. We gotta do it. Where is it?
Hit the echo.
Klaus Schwab. He actually made a cameo appearance.
No way.
Yeah,
Good
he
for
was
him.
there. He was like, guess what, guys?
Krampus himself,
He's
huh?
like, I don't care if you're with the WEF or whatever this group is,
The
as
World
long as
Global
we
Summit.
screw over all the regular people and create our globalist regime. I mean, that's all he really wants
Right,
to do.
because where the SS and the KGB couldn't, we're up.
This is yes. My accents are
Wow.
terrible. I really got to work
So
on
bad.
these things.
So bad.
I got to work on my accent so bad. All right. So I'm gonna go over this real quick. This is just the last thing I want to go over the fertilizer prices index here that we have for anyone who's just listening. So this article is on Illinois, the Illinois Farm Policy News, and I know you don't say the S. I've been making fun of it. Fertilizer prices break new records in conjunction with elevated commodity prices, stir food security concerns.
Yep.
I can't say that guy's name. I'm not going to try. Reported yesterday at the Financial Times Online that fertilizer prices are breaking new records as supplies from Russia, the leading exporter, has dwindled, adding further to fears over food security. And then we have a chart here that shows you from back in 2003 to now, and we're seeing a massive spike in prices for fertilizer, actually similar to what we saw in 2008. So I'm not really sure what caused it, because now we're dealing with a conflict with the world's largest producers. So I don't know what was happening in 2008 that caused the price to go up, other than the crash, the financial crash.
Other than that thing in Ukraine.
But I thought that was that in Ukraine? I thought that happened in 2014, 13.
Was it 14?
Well, that was when we didn't force a regime change.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
Because that's when the Donbass region
Collapsed.
That's when the Donbass region and Crimea voted to separate from Ukraine because they didn't agree with the election. Ukraine tried to keep Crimea, but they just didn't have the power to do so. Russia said no. Whereas the Donbass region was very much attached and easily fought over by Ukraine, so they didn't allow it to separate. But the Donbass region, Donetsk, Luhansk, they've never been and they've never considered themselves to be Ukraine. But anyway, that was a different time frame. So I don't know what was happening other than our financial crash in 2008, which we did see. We all remember it.
Yeah, it was ugly.
I don't know, was the price high because of, it wasn't inflation. So what would it be?
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on to read here. Russian export banned this month, including key crop nutrients containing nitrogen, potash, phosphates, has sent prices soaring while farmers were already facing high fertilizer costs because of sanctions on Belarus, a leading potash producer, and export restrictions by China. So I guess China's also in this game. Once again, that guy's name, Turazano, I think that's it, stated that the fertilizer index from CRU, a consultancy, has risen 30% since the start of the year. It is now higher than the levels reached during the food and energy crisis when the prices jumped in 2008. I don't remember. Now, maybe I was just too young and too worried about just like having a good time. But I was in the desert like right around this time. So
Yeah, fertilizer didn't matter.
I don't remember.
So I got it here. It says the price surged in 2008 due to a strong domestic and global demand for fertilizers, low fertilizer inventories, and the inability of U.S. fertilizer industry to adjust the production levels.
Yeah.
By late 2008, monthly averages had already fallen.
Jesus.
As you can see on the chart, it dropped quick.
So, I mean, right now, you look at the inflation, whether you're looking at fertilizer prices or you're looking at fuel prices, which have also gone essentially parabolic, which if you're not watching
good
us...
word.
Well, that's my... I'm waiting for AMC and GameStop to go parabolic. And Highcroft Mines as well. We're all going to get rich, motherfuckers. But so these charts and the current prices, the inflation, whether it's inflation or supply and demand causing the price to go up, which we all know it's a little bit of both. It's a combination of both, inflation and supply and demand crisis.
Yeah. They feed into it.
These are going, these are at a right angle. This is at a 90 degree. It's actually not even.
Can we call it the Biden bump?
Yeah, the Biden bump. And some of this, we've talked about this before, and some of this was already influenced because the money market, they printed almost they printed way too much money in 2020 during the pandemic. So some of this was done.
You mean the football stadium's full of money?
Oh my God!
To back the bankers on Wall Street that doesn't exist? Yeah, trillions.
I didn't realize it was going to be that cold. I feel like my heater just keeps turning on. I wonder if my wife is just cranking the heat right now because it's like 60 out, right?
It's comfy.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd go outside and hang out. But anyway, so the prices are just skyrocketing in every different aspect of any market that you look at. It's not looking good. So I just wanted to cover that. That's it. And then they're looking at wheat supplies. All right, so
and these are right now. We're not even talking about what's been planted and what's expected. That's 6 months away, and that's going to be real fun to be around.
Yeah, because we're getting into, what is it? Spring is spring the planting season? Fall's the harvest?
Correct.
Yeah, so they're about to plant, and they don't have fertilizer, or at least it's hard to come by, and it costs a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money.
And then on top of that, fuel prices have gone up a massive amount. And on top of that, when you think about fertilizer and other exports that come from Russia and Ukraine, you got to think of urea. Urea is used in DEF fluid, diesel exhaust fluid, which means fuel's up.
Diesel.
It's hard to run your tractor. Diesel exhaust fluid is up and harder to come by.
Yeah, if you're a DEF truck, you can't go anywhere without DEF.
Yeah. So now, fuel costs you more money, DEF costs you more money, fertilizer costs you more money if you can even get it. So if they even manage to acquire these resources that they need,
money,
it's the food price. It's not the farmer's fault. So don't get mad at your local farmer. They are getting dragged over the coals in order to produce food for you. But the food prices are going to go up. Huge. I mean, you're talking a lot of farmers. I don't know the exact numbers, but they said it was like, it used to cost them like $600 or $700 to run their tractor for the day. And now it's
$2,000.
Yeah, it's like $2,000 because you're not talking about just the fuel. You're talking about the DEF fluid, and
spare parts, wear and tear.
Yeah, so
man hours.
Like we were saying right at the beginning, just prepare for it.
The only way to offset this is exactly what Alex just said, is to prepare.
Yeah.
If you can grow a small amount of vegetables and know how to keep them and secure them and protect them, you're going to be better off than just relying on the food market as it is.
Yeah, and I did one video about this before, and it was a very solemn video, not all that interesting, and I understand that. I was just trying to give some information, but I went over building a spud box, a potato box. You can have these things up like 6 tiers, right? And in each tier, it's like a 2 foot by 2 foot box, almost like a little stanchion. And you build up the first tier, you fill it with just the I don't know what you call I think it's called the eye of the potato.
It's a potato seed.
Yeah, and
it's not a true seed. It's the eye, but cut out.
It's the eye. It looks like a little nub.
Looks like an alfalfa sprout.
And anyway, so you plant these in the first tier, and then when they start to sprout, when it grows to a certain level, you got to look it up yourself. I'm no expert. Then you build the next tier, and you put more in there, and so on and so forth. And you can grow a significant amount of potatoes literally in your home if you have like a little catch basin underneath it, so you can water them and it doesn't get on your floors. Or shit, I mean, if you don't care about your floors and you're starving, just do it. I don't care.
Carpet's carpet, right?
But it's something you don't have to have a lot of space to create a spud box. And if you need food, that'll get you by. But if you do like a hip height, waist height or knee height garden, a raised garden, you can put a lot of stuff in there.
Sure can.
You can create your own compost pretty easily using, the scraps from what you're eating, the coffee grounds, all the kinds of stuff. Literally, we're getting to the point where people are going to have to start becoming more resourceful, or you're going to have to be rich.
I think that's where we're absolutely. Or you can just have the synthetic meat or lentils. Your lentils and synthetic meat with bugs.
Eat your bugs, motherfuckers.
I gotta take that away from you. That was a good one though. That was solid.
I like that one. That was good.
But dude, yeah, that's where they want us to go. Eat bugs, eat your lentils, eat your synthetic meat. Soylent Green is people.
Soylent Green is people. You gotta watch. So by the way, that's an old movie, but it's a really good one.
It rings a little true.
I bought that movie last year, actually, before all this started. No, 2 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic. I bought that movie, and I laughed and laughed, and I made a couple of clips with it that I shared with my father, and we laughed and said, this is kind of creepy at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it's even more creepy now when you watch it because, man, we are spiraling in that direction at an accelerated rate. Pretty soon we're going to have these little compact things of Soylent Green that they're going to call Beyond Meat or something, and you're going to be like, yay!
Oh, Beyond Meat's going to come after you for that one.
By the way, all right, Beyond Meat, I'm not saying that that's you. I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying that these synthetic meat products.
I mean, everything that we've, just real quick on the synthetic BS that is meat, like every fast food place you see, they got the false meat the false meat sausage and your breakfast sandwich. They're pushing it really hard because they're trying to socially condition the herd.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Some of them, I've tried one or two, and when they put enough seasonings and spices in there, like by the time that they do that, it's so packed full of sodium that it's probably horrible for you. But it does start to have a taste that you could tolerate. But don't have nothing and be happy. You know, just be resourceful and be prepared so that you don't have to settle for so that the only time you have to eat synthetic meats is by choice.
Yeah, and if you work your butt off, you should be able to enjoy the luxuries of life.
All right, so guys, I want to bring us into our last story for the night, and then anything we talk about from there is just going to be us kind of just spitballing and shooting from the hip. So right here, let me read off the headline. Lauren Handy claims to have actually had 115 fetuses. Handy says 110 of them were blessed and buried. The other 5 are with police. There's a little bit more to this.
Alex, pull it up.
Oh, it's over here.
Oh.
Yeah, I already moved. I've been getting better after I failed at the very beginning.
That's the delay on my Facebook over here.
Yeah,
You're good.
So this was written by Sylvie McNamara, and this is in the Washingtonian. It's from April 5th of this year, and I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna try to read it quick, although it's a little lengthy, and then we'll talk about it. So last week, DC police found 5 fetuses in the home of pro-life activist Lauren Handy. During a press conference Tuesday, the pro-life group Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising claimed that figure was incomplete. Handy allegedly had 115 fetuses, including 5 that were already in the custody of police. The provenance of those 115 fetuses is bizarre. The group claims several activists, including Handy, encountered a driver from Curtis Bay Medical Waste Services.
Remember that name?
Yeah, remember that name. Loading biohazard boxes onto his truck outside of Washington Surgery Clinic in Foggy Bottom. It's a fun name for a place. On March 25th, they say they convinced the driver to give them a box. A statement disputing the credibility of these claims, apparently from Curtis Bay Energy, was read. But whatever. Of course, they're going to deny it.
Even though the box that had the biohazard baits in it said
we found
Curtis Bay Energy Facility.
Your driver gave us this box of baby parts.
No, he didn't.
That would never happen.
Your name's on it.
We would never do that.
We have the return address.
Yeah. That's like when I think it was Pittsburgh University when they got caught selling baby parts. They were like, we would never do that. And then it came out in documentation.
Yeah, you were doing that.
You're like, we were actually doing that.
Sorry. Is that a felony?
Get your baby legs.
Oh, my God.
After issuing a substantial trigger warning, PAAU screened a video that purports to show activists using a kitchen knife to cut into a cardboard Curtis Bay Energy box with a biohazard label before discovering what they claimed were 115 fetuses, most at early stages of gestation. However, I've read a couple of these reports, and not all of these were early stages of gestation. So when you hear me out here. So some of these babies are actually like
that's the best term, babies.
Birthed babies. These aren't fetuses that are aborted. Some of them are actually aborted prior to birth, but some of these they are actually calling aborted babies, but they were not. They were murdered. They were born already, and that's an important thing to think of
because that's against the law.
It's against the law, and there's a bill right now in California where they want to make it so that you can literally kill babies up to 7 days after death, after birth.
Why stop at 7? Go to 7 years if you don't like the little shit. Get rid of them.
Yeah, but they want to be able to kill a baby within 7 days of birth.
What does that say about a society that wants to kill a child?
No. This isn't society.
This is California.
it's the cesspool of the United States. But what it really is this fringe, cringe faction of what I would call the extreme left. I wouldn't call these liberals. They're not. Liberals are pretty standard, regular people that just, they believe social programs more than I do. And I'm not against most of them, but they like hold a lot more faith in them. These extreme leftists, they want to be able to kill, allegedly, they want to be able to kill babies up to 7 days after birth. And based on the bill that's being proposed, they cannot be charged, they cannot be investigated for their involvement, and neither can other people if they're involved.
So it relieves them of any civil indemnity.
Yeah, so essentially, think about it this way. If you have a deranged postpartum mother that's depressed and losing their shit.
Healthy baby's born.
Healthy baby, and they decide that they don't want that baby, and it's been 6 days, and they throw it against a wall or throw it into traffic, nothing can happen to them.
I want those lawmakers and their names assigned to everything that they've been doing.
You know what? I will. I'm going to pull it up, but
there you go, everybody. There's the enemy of the United States right there.
So, but here's the thing. So, what I wanted to talk about before I go, I'm going to go search for that bill that was in California. I believe that's where it was. But what
sense.
I wanted to talk about is this woman, Lauren Handy. The way that this thing is written, the Washingtonian is not necessarily trying to make her seem like the villain, but God, does it not? Like she does come off like a villain because they're talking about how she's in possession of all these fetuses, these aborted babies, right? But the detail that is more or less kind of ignored, even though they do talk about it a great deal in this, is the villain is whoever Curtis Bay Energy got these babies from. And I'm not saying Curtis Bay Energy is the villain. And I'm saying allegedly that they had them, by the way, Curtis Bay.
Do we blame the Washington Surgery Clinic at Foggy Bottom?
Yeah, so whether it be them or whether it be, another abortion facility, someone, somewhere, organizations around the country are killing babies, whether it be prior to birth or shortly thereafter, and selling the fucking parts.
Well, we know Project Veritas covered that last year. James O'Keefe and his group had really undercover and exposed the selling of fetal parts for money.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the reason why why Project Veritas had to cover it? The guy who originally broke the story, he stormed into Planned Parenthood. He did this all in California, undercover video, and it was Kamala Harris who squashed that and got this guy essentially like depersoned from the internet. Look into that if you get a chance, and if you know what we're talking about, please comment. Like anyone who's listening, I'm sure my dad's listening, but he doesn't ever seem to comment. I think he doesn't know how to type. I have no idea. But like
so Curtis Bay facilities, they also own Curtis Bay Energy. They're run by a parent company called Aurora Capital, so they're their big backer financial incentives. And these babies that were in the box that were given to them in the biohazard bag were, and you can go out, it's on the internet, you'll see the packing label says for incinerator and generator. So they were headed to the generator at Curtis Bay Energy to be used in the production of heat to make steam to power your house. I want you to think about that. We're using dead fetuses to create steam so you can have energy.
All right.
Is that where we're at, people?
All right. So I'm going to read this bill a little bit. So if you want to keep going.
No, get it. Like, this is just aggravating. This is more than aggravating. Like, if I found these people, it would not go well.
So, all right. So the name of the bill, it is in California legislature. It is from the 2021-2022 regular session.
What's the bill number,
The bill number is AB Alpha Bravo hyphen 2223, reproductive health. Read it yourself so that you're not just taking my word for it. I'm going to try to skim through. So let's see here.
Well, I think like Aurora, I don't know if it was Aurora Capital, because they're like, yeah, no, we don't deal with the transportation or acceptance of human body parts and whatnot. And they're like, yes, you do. Your company called Curtis Bay absolutely does that. And how much you want to bet it was just some guy who was doing deliveries and was like, yeah, you want a box? I'll give you a box. I don't care. I don't know what I'm shipping.
All right, so Section 8 of this bill, Section 1, it says Section 8, this is weird writing, Section 8, Section 1, 2, 3, 4, 6,
Alex, is
8.
that up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Thank you for reminding me. Of the Health and Safety Code is amended to read, the performance of an abortion is unauthorized if performed by someone other than the pregnant person, and if either of the following is true. The person performing the abortion is not a healthcare provider authorized to perform an abortion pursuant to Section 2253 of the Business and Professional Code. The abortion is performed on a viable fetus, and both of the following are established. In good faith medical judgment of the physician, the fetus was viable. In good faith medical judgment of the physician, continuation of the pregnancy posed no risk to the health of the pregnant person.
What the fuck?
Let's get this stupid friggin' terminology out of here. If you're a biological male,
You can't have a baby.
you cannot get pregnant.
You got a uterus, Alex, that I don't know about?
I mean, it'd be cool if I had a uterus, but I don't. So I can't get pregnant. I can't be a birthing person.
When they do shit like this, they lose all fucking scientific credibility.
All right, but what they said here, I'm not necessarily, other than the pregnant person thing,
We're going to protect them.
I'm not really opposed to, not allowing non-healthcare providers to do it, and also not allowing them to do it if the fetus is viable and that a physician decides that there's no risk posed by the pregnancy. However, it says, notwithstanding any other law, a person shall not be subject to civil or criminal liability or penalty, or otherwise be deprived of their rights based on the actions or omissions with respect to the pregnancy or actual potential or alleged pregnancy outcome, including miscarriage, stillbirth, abortion, or perinatal death. A person who aids or assists a pregnant person in exercising their rights under this article shall not be subject to civil or criminal liability or penalty, or otherwise be deprived of their rights based solely on the actions to aid or assist a pregnant woman, in exercising their rights under this article while the pregnant person's voluntary consent. So, if anyone, were to aid a pregnant person in killing a baby based on this, it might, I'm not saying it does, but it might remove any liability from you. Based on this verbiage here, essentially saying that you shall not be civil or criminally liable or have any penalty, and you will not be deprived of your rights based on your actions to help this person kill a baby, as long as the pregnant woman is giving you their consent. That's really cool. The state shall not deny or interfere with a woman's
pregnant person's
right to choose or obtain an abortion prior to viability of the fetus, or when the abortion is necessary to protect life or health of the pregnant person.
Alex, can you define what a pregnant person is?
I believe it is a biological female that is carrying a baby in their womb.
Okay, because I don't know anymore. The Supreme Court judge nominated, she didn't know, and I'm like, I'm kind of confused too now.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Oh, there's got to be more.
It's like we're living in the fucking upside down.
This section shall not be used to establish, bring, or support a criminal prosecution or civil case,
there you go,
cause of action seeking damages against any person, whether or not they were the person who was pregnant with the fetus. So whether or not you're even the person who's pregnant. Though its courts and statutes and under its constitution, California protects the rights to reproductive privacy, and it is the intent of the legislature to reaffirm these protections. So the way that this could be read is they're essentially trying to say that you're not allowed to know, and I'm okay with medical privacy, but if a pregnant person were to abort their fetus, then that's, nothing you can do. And if someone helps, nothing can be done to them. I remember hearing, I want to find 7 days, so let me see if I can find it. 7.
So I'm actually going to talk about my personal belief on abortion. I'm extremely pro-right. I think life is so precious. However, I think abortion is necessary and should be exceptionally rare in certain cases for medical needs. And if you're at your 3rd trimester and you're like, you know what? I think it's time to get rid of it. No, you had your time. I don't agree with that. And that's my personal 2 cents. My belief is that yes, it's should be between a woman and her doctor, but I don't think Roe v. Wade has any weight anymore when we have evolved scientifically to understand when heartbeat begins, when nervous tissue is developed. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't want to keep going under this, but my issue is just that why are we looking for all these ways to kill babies?
It's weird. It's barbaric and demonic.
And at the same time, and I can't even go into it because if you didn't know, our last video that we made, a stubby short video, was only 6 minutes. It was about population, and I'm only going to say the word population about it. But that was removed because we were talking about, things involving
Soylent Green.
No, things involving the population and ways to make it not so big.
Like not having pairs breeding.
Yes.
I'm trying to skirt the edge here too, man.
It was all about ways to prevent couples from heterosexual couples from reproducing,
the only ones who can make babies.
And it was all about ways to incentivize and compensate people for not completing the terms of their pregnancy, including and then we went into historical fact, going through Supreme Court cases where not only did they do this, where they reduced people's terms for agreeing to certain things that would prevent them from being able to have babies, but they also forced it on people because they deemed them, let's just say, not qualified to have babies.
What was the word they liked to use back then?
Imbeciles.
Imbeciles. And that's so subjective.
Mm-hmm.
People who were otherwise healthy, they're like, nah, you're kind of not as smart as me, and I don't like your eugenics, so you're out.
Yeah, actually, the Supreme Court ruled that in one case, they ruled that it was constitutional to sterilize a certain person, and their quote was, 3 generations of imbeciles is enough.
Wow. And that's Supreme Court case, so I guess I should just shut up. That's the law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Dred Scott.
Like everything else, right? So, laws are, obviously you try to abide by them, but if the laws are incorrect, then you need to air your grievances. We need to get them changed, right? So whether it's Black Lives Matter that are out there protesting and advocating for change, some of the changes that they wanted, I agree with. Some of their core tenets, I extremely disagreed with. But they're out there, the actual peaceful protesters, not the ones that you saw burning down Wendy's and AutoZones and stuff, but actual peaceful protesters were trying to create change, positive change. And you're seeing it when it comes to gun rights advocacy groups. You're seeing it when it comes to, women's marches. The ones that don't skirt the far extremes and hate everyone.
I agree.
So you got fetuses just being found, body parts of babies being found. You've got California trying to create legislation that may allegedly protect people that kill babies. You got food shortages just looming overhead, and the prices of food and items needed to grow crops just astronomically increasing. And then you've got the one most patriotic and glorious fox. Just Vivian.
Fair winds, Fox.
Can we name her Veronica?
Veronica? Sure.
Miss Veronica Vaughn. But yeah, so I feel like I'm not getting the whole bill here. I was listening to someone reading the bill earlier, and they literally spoke about a 7-day period that you can't be liable for anything. So maybe,
it sounds like they can't be liable if they just help out.
Well, it's weird because in this bill, which I'm looking at, which is the Legal Info Legislature of California government website, they don't even give you a deadline, which is really odd. Because
that's it right there. Then that's all you need.
Yeah. So this might be a different one, but it's recent. This was amended in the Assembly on March 17th of this year. So this more than likely is it.
A few weeks ago.
But yeah, a lot of people are not happy about it. So. I don't really know, how much time, what are we at right now?
We're about an hour right now.
Yeah, so why don't we do this, guys and gals, and anyone who's considering commenting, please do. Let me know what you think about, abortion. Are you pro-abortion? Are you pro-life? If you're for either one, Let me know why.
Let's have a discussion.
Yeah, I'm not going to yell at you. I mean,
No.
my beliefs. I hold my beliefs, but when I was younger, I had different beliefs. The beliefs change based on what you're exposed to and what you learn. And
that's called wisdom.
Yeah. So a long time ago, I was not so pro-life, whereas now I have children, and I can't imagine, if I had made a certain decision and that wasn't the case. So it's a little bit different. And yeah, and like I asked you before, if you have any thoughts about Vivian or Veronica Fox, tell me.
Yeah, and lastly, what do y'all think about the food shortages? Are you excited about the government forced weight reduction program?
Yeah, and what survival food item do you already have, and which one are you trying to avoid? What's your least favorite? Because honestly, I've been trying to avoid lentils.
You're really avoiding these lentils, huh?
I am, and I just gotta. I've got some things like canned goods that are literally just for the kids. They're only good for a couple of years, so this thing's got to happen. I didn't go crazy on buying those because if this thing doesn't kick off the way I think it will, then they're gonna go bad before I use them. I'm not gonna use them when I don't need them. So
nobody needs botulism.
No. But what's Botox? What is that?
That's botulism.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess some people need it if they think that...
You want to inject bad SpaghettiOs in your face? On that note, everyone.
Yeah. We're going to sign off, so...
Thanks, everyone. Comment, subscribe, support us. We appreciate it, and we look forward to doing this every week with you guys and get a load of Alex on the stubbies during the week. He really gets it.
I try to, but YouTube keeps saying, no, wrong way.
You're talking wrong.
Yeah, you can't say that. So, hey, Semper Phallus, my friends.
Semper Phallus, everyone. We're always
Have a
dipped.
good night. We are out.